All right. The holiday of 9/11. Why do I say this? Well, I think at this point the United States knows nothing else other than to turn something into a commercialization and a promotion of ideas. Much the same way as, say, TNT would have 24 hours of the Chris of a Christmas story, of you'll shoot your eye out, kid, and all the memes and all that, the kid getting his tongue stuck on the flagpole and Scott Farkus getting beat up and all that. It's all just warm and fuzzy boomerisms. And the thing is, you could say the same thing about 9/11. Is I remember on NBC, I don't know if they still do it, and I'll have to see this year, but I've seen in years past, um, of NBC, or at least, one of the lesser NBC channels, playing the footage of the broadcast of 9/11 that day. And of course, the silence that occurs and people, crashing into the towers and whatnot. And it's become commercialized and it is simply seen as as a continuation of the defense of ideas, basically. If the United States could, I think that they would make more money off of tragedy. But I think that was already done in years past. Especially with the Red Cross money getting taken, being taken by different companies and scrupulous people who use that to their own ends. Um, we've seen, of course, the legacy of 9/11, and of course of fighting terrorism and whatnot. Where has it gone to now that we're out of Afghanistan? Now that we're still in Iraq, but not in the same way. And we see, of course, the conflict in Ukraine and Russia is, and what I've seen from it is now I think that Russians are abandoning Izium, I believe. That's what I've heard. I'm not prepared to make any judgments about that. I'm just going to go ahead and just leave it there. I'll leave that up to other folks. I should kind of back up off that. Now, I'm not a Zoid. I'm not somebody who's dedicated to Z form, to the Z posters and whatnot. And I'm definitely not with the Ukraine guys. I don't like either one. I think they're both fucking cringe. But beyond that is, what is the legacy at this point of 9/11? You know, for those that for those of us that kind of, we heard about it, and yeah, we were alive obviously at the time, but it wasn't really that big of, I mean, what most people would think of is there was a run on gas, and we saw the images and whatnot. And by the time, I mean, I graduated high school in 2004. I'm an old guy at this point, but we say to ourselves, okay, well, what has happened since then? What has happened since then with now the war in Afghanistan is no more. We have given up, and the Taliban has retaken control. And apparently there are continued power struggles within the Taliban itself in terms of how much influence certain parts of the Taliban. It's not, the Taliban is not one thing. It's not a monolith. But, there's constantly shifting, loyalties, etc. Going off of that, we say to ourselves, okay, well, what's it about now? What's it all about now? And not much. And ultimately, now we look back on 9/11, and I just listened to, Kamala Harris, and what a boring guy that did kind of the warm up for them. And giving her speech, of course, about, codifying Roe v. Wade into federal law and basically protecting democracy. And that's how it's going to be viewed now. It's redefining that era and saying to ourselves, we're not going to, we're not going to demonize George W. Bush, because now Bush is kind of like a friend of neocons and Dems alike. in different ways, but I think that they're still seen as friends. They're still seen as you know, whatever. But anyway, I am going long in the tooth on this one. So basically, now 9/11 is being redefined, and it's still seen as, to me, it's kind of been commercialized to a point, and it's turned into another holiday that is typical of, I can't speak for the rest of the world, but it's typical of American culture, where it's just like all we can do is just kind of look back and, reminisce and redefine it in our own way. So Christmas, like I say, and of course people can say, well, Christmas was originally pagan. Fine. It was pagan, and it was redefined by Christianity and turned into the holiday that we know it as today. When things collapse, Christmas will be redefined again. And it's just basically 9/11 is seen as something to be is a constant, but it's simply redefined, and its terms and what it stands for and what it means are redefined, much the same way as Christmas has been. That's really my point. I just came up with that, and I pulled that straight out of my ass. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Anyway, I think that's all I literally have. So see you later. A goodbye.